Well, if you went to bed early, you're waking up to the Packers as your NFC North champions. We'll have a full recap of their victory. And the city of Sun Prairie is looking to rebuild on the site of the 2018 explosion. We'll tell you what's in store.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 24th. Gary and I are hanging out with you on Christmas Eve. Good morning, Gary.
It's the Conant High School morning show.
Reunion. Yes, Gary and I went to the same high school back in the suburbs of Chicago.
Just a few years apart.
Just a few years apart. And now, we always enjoy working together. We can talk about the Conant Cougars a little bit.
That's true.
Also talking about
the fog. Yeah, this morning, that's a problem, especially south and west of Madison. Seeing some locally dense fog. Dense fog advisory in effect until 8 a.m. for Janesville, westward toward Platteville, and then northward to about Dodgeville and Lone Rock. Right now, visibility is in that area down to about a quarter to a half mile. Here in Madison, visibility is starting to drop off. We're down to about 2 miles at the airport. We've been around 5 miles, but temperatures are above freezing, which is good news. We're not seeing any icy road surfaces as a result. Otherwise, look for temperatures to gradually climb into the upper 40s later this afternoon. The fog should lift by about mid-morning, but will stay cloudy all day today. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, not seeing any big delays, but of course last-minute shoppers will be out very soon, and that will start to impact the roads. Right now, no problems on the Beltline or on I-39, 90, 94 through Dane County. Not seeing any issues through central portion of Madison. Saw a few slowdowns on Campus Drive earlier, but it looks like those have dissipated. No problems on I-39, 90, 94 heading eastward toward Milwaukee or southward toward Beloit, or to the north and west into the Dells or up into central Wisconsin, or US 151 toward the Fox Valley. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
And once the fog lifts, it might be a good idea for families to enjoy some time outdoors on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
I think so. You won't have to shovel anyway.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Well, waking up this morning, the Packers are your NFC North champions. Ken Kozarowski was at the game and has a full recap and reaction.
The Packers get to leave Minnesota with their first NFC North title since 2016, thanks to a 23-10 drubbing of the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay needed to overcome 3 first-half turnovers to do it, but thanks to a stingy defensive performance and a big second half from Showtime Aaron Jones, the Packers are the king in the North.
It means a lot, you know, because I told the guys earlier, man, I was like, man, you know what? The only thing I want for Christmas is a hat and a T-shirt, and they came through with it, man. My Christmas gift is here already.
There's no other word for it. The defense was dominant, and Zadarius Smith was the heart and soul of the group. 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. As a whole, the unit sacked Kirk Cousins 5 times, picked him off once courtesy of Kevin King, and allowed just 7 first downs and 139 total yards.
Coach put us in great situations, allowed us to go put pressure on the quarterback. We stopped the run. We helped them. We didn't allow them to pass and get comfortable back there. Man, he rattled the cage, and, you know, it went our way.
Aaron Jones posted his 5th game this season with multiple rushing touchdowns, including a 56-yard game-sealing score.
From the first carry, and even when Jamal was in on the next series carrying the ball, you could see there was 5-yard gains on the first couple carries. So that does give you a confidence at the beginning of the game that, hey, we can run the ball.
So with 1 more week in the regular season to go, the Packers currently occupy the 2 seed in the NFC. The top overall seed is still in play. They just have to beat the Lions and get a little help from the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. Now, Aaron Rodgers remembers the 2010 Super Bowl run in which the team had to win 3 playoff games on the road. So the prospect of hosting at least 1 playoff game at frigid Lambeau Field, Aaron Rodgers says that'll be an advantage for his guys for sure. At US Bank Stadium, I'm Ken Kozarowski for News 3 Now Sports.
And speaking of football, the Badgers football team will be leaving on Christmas Day, heading to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. They're encouraging fans to get their pictures taken at a wall of roses to show their support. You can find it at Hilldale in Madison. And you can share those with the team by sending them to the team's Twitter feed. The Badgers face the Oregon Ducks on New Year's Day. And the city of Sun Prairie is looking at plans to redevelop the area destroyed by the explosion back in July of 2018. The city's working with consultants from the Lakota Group and have come up with several different concepts, many of which include elements like mixed-use buildings, a boutique hotel, and a festival street where the city could hold street fairs. Sun Prairie Mayor Paul Esser says they want to add to the Main Street area while keeping the aesthetic of the older-looking buildings.
You'd want that classic look and would expect that they would be predominantly residential with some retail on the first floor, but again, light retail and restaurant oriented.
Now, the land is privately owned, so the city and consultants will take these ideas to the Plan Commission to see what this empty space could become. The Planning Commission will see the concepts next month. A man is facing charges after allegedly shooting a home, causing damage. Sun Prairie police arrested 25-year-old Jeff Starks of Madison after conducting 2 search warrants. You'll remember that shooting happened on Wild Irish Street just after noon on Sunday. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the shooting. And 2 people are recovering from their injuries this morning after a shooting over in Duluth. But there are still a lot of unanswered questions regarding the incident. Duluth police say it happened at around 3 Monday afternoon. Police were not able to confirm the names of the 2 people who were hurt or if they were looking for any suspects. They also wouldn't say what they believe led up to the incident. This shooting also caused a nearby hospital to go on lockdown. St. Luke's Hospital was shut down for about 15 to 30 minutes before being cleared. Police are still investigating the shooting. And around the state, a Wisconsin mother is warning others after learning her 11-year-old daughter's personal information was on an escort website. Faith Baldus says a man called her daughter's cell phone looking for an escort. When her daughter didn't answer, he called Baldus, whose number is listed in her daughter's voicemail for emergencies.
So he asked for my name, and I said, "Are you sure you're looking for me at this number?" And he said, "Yes." I called another phone number, and it's my daughter's number because it's listed on an escort site. You need to search it and get your daughter's information off of there.
Baldus went to that website called skipgames.eu, and sure enough, her daughter's number was listed under an escort's name and photo, along with the services the escort provides. Other women in the Milwaukee area were found on that website as well. Baldus says she doesn't know how her daughter's name ended up on the site, but she did file a police report. Police say the number seems to have been added on accident. And the number of homicides in Milwaukee this year is officially surpassing last year's total. The Milwaukee Police Department says the number of homicides reported in 2019 is 98 as of yesterday, 2 of which happened just this past weekend. Last year, the final total was 93, which was down from 118 back in 2017. In 2016, there were 168 homicides. Well, back here in Madison, no officers will be charged in a fatal shooting by police on the city's west side back in October. The decision comes as we're seeing new body camera footage released. Police were called to a home on Raymond Road on October 27th. 64-year-old Dean Thomas was armed and fired at officers when they arrived. Police say they told Thomas to drop his weapon, and when he didn't comply, one of the responding officers shot him. Thomas died from his injuries. The Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozan said in a statement that responding to a threat like this one with deadly force is allowed under the law. And the man accused of shooting and killing a Dodgeville man earlier this month is officially facing a charge of first-degree reckless homicide. 20-year-old Marcus Hamilton didn't speak in court yesterday, so a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. A criminal complaint shows Hamilton was meeting a group to sell them marijuana on Madison's south side. It says he got into a car and tried to rob everyone in it. 18-year-old Gunnar Holm was reportedly in the driver's seat when he was shot. He died at the hospital of his injuries. Hamilton's bond was lowered from $1 million to $250,000. Well, still ahead on News 3 Now this morning, we are going to bring you the latest from the Ukraine scandal after newly discovered emails show more details on the Trump administration's withholding of aid to Ukraine. And we are dreaming of a mild Christmas. Warmer weather is in the forecast with a possible record high later in the week. Gary has your first alert forecast right after this.
Well, it's a foggy and mild start to Christmas Eve across southern Wisconsin. I think Santa will probably have to put wheels on his sleigh this year because there won't be any snow around, but he should enjoy the trip because temperatures will be pretty mild for this time of year. Now, we do have a dense fog advisory in effect until 8 a.m. for areas south and southwest of Dane County. When Santa is coming in, he will have no problems until he gets to southern Wisconsin. Take a look at the snow cover. Pretty much all of Canada and the northern portion of the United States is snow covered, but you get to Wisconsin and basically from about La Crosse to Green Bay, that's the dividing line between those that'll see a white Christmas, areas north of that, and those who won't, which is where we are in southern Wisconsin. There's a dense fog advisory in effect until 8 a.m. for Iowa, Lafayette, Grant, Greene, and Rock counties. It does not include Dane County, but visibilities are starting to drop off here as well. Visibility is down to 2 miles in Madison to the south and west. Visibilities are less than a mile. Even over to Viroqua now, we're seeing visibilities drop to around 1/4 of a mile. On weather track, lots of clouds, but a very mild Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. The main storm track is to the west and north of us, so that allows the mild air to move in. The big storm system in the southeastern part of the country has moved off the coast. So if you're doing any traveling, the areas in yellow and red have problems, but the areas in green, which is where we are, should have no problems all the way through not only Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day as well. You can see to the north and west, maybe some light snow over parts of North Dakota into northern Minnesota would be the nearest travel problems other than the fog that we're seeing this morning. The live view from the WISC Skycam shows just how thick the fog is looking down. And barely make out the lights there, but the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, not really able to see the Capitol as well as the skies are turning foggy as well. 35 the current temperature, winds out of the south-southeast at 7 miles per hour, humidity at 92%, and like I say, visibilities around 2 miles here in Madison. Temperatures are in the 20s in northern Wisconsin, but generally above freezing through much of the rest of the state, so hopefully that will keep the roads from freezing up. Again, dense fog advisory south and west of Dane County through 8 a.m. Look for fog to gradually lift by mid-morning. Temperatures will climb to around 43 by lunchtime. Then for this afternoon, look for mostly cloudy skies and a very mild day with a high of 47. Tonight, mostly cloudy, some patchy fog possible, low dropping to 37. And then for Christmas Day, look for a high temperature of 48 degrees. Might even see a little bit of drizzle in the afternoon. The 7 to 10 day forecast, you can see those temperatures in the upper 40s on Thursday, dropping to the upper 30s on Friday. Some rain on Saturday, changing to snow before ending on Sunday. The New Year's Eve and New Year's Day holidays look to be quiet, and they'll turn colder toward the end of next week. Now we're going to take a look at First Alert traffic with Stacy Kay. Stacy, you have the traffic update.
Yes, thanks. Good morning. We do have the areas of dense fog right now here in southern Wisconsin, so you might need to give yourself a little extra time. But so far, no delays on the Beltline in either direction. Other roads here in Dane County looking just fine at this point. Just minor slowdowns on Stoughton as you approach the Beltline and a few brake lights on John Nolan. Other main routes heading into Madison cruising along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Stacy Kay.
Thank you, Stacey and Gary. New this morning, President Trump's former national security advisor John Bolton suggests the Trump administration is bluffing about stopping North Korea's nuclear ambitions. In an interview with Bolton, he said he doesn't think the administration, quote, really means it when the president and other top officials promised to stop North Korea from having deliverable nuclear weapons. He claims the administration would take, quote, a different course if that was the case. This comes ahead of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's threatened Christmas surprise against the U.S. and as the nation steps up their production of long-range missiles, which could potentially reach the U.S. mainland. The week-old standoff on Capitol Hill over the articles of impeachment against President Trump shows no signs of ending anytime soon. CBS's Mark Liverman reports from New York.
Democrats are demanding new witnesses. Republicans are calling for a speedy trial. With both houses of Congress in recess until January 6th, the impasse could last a while.
I think we'll find out when we come back in session where we are.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has refused to transmit the articles of impeachment to the Senate. In a tweet on Monday, the speaker wrote that the delay will continue, quote, until we know what sort of trial the Senate will conduct. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that, above all, Democrats want to be allowed to introduce new evidence.
If it doesn't have documents and witnesses, it's going to seem to most of the American people that it is a sham trial, a show trial.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said it's not the Senate's job to do fact-finding for the House. But yesterday, the senator said he could be convinced that more testimony is needed.
What we need to do is to listen to the arguments, have a written questioning period, and then decide whether we need witnesses or not.
In any event, the next step in the impeachment process isn't McConnell's to make. As the Kentucky Republican said, we can't take up a matter that we don't have. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now, new evidence shows the Trump administration put a hold on military aid to Ukraine just an hour and a half after the president's July phone call with Ukraine's president. Democrats are pointing to that as a reason why more evidence should be allowed. The White House insists the timing was just coincidental. Well, back here in Wisconsin, a local state representative wants to get rid of the sales tax on diapers and tampons. The Dane County Diaper Bank has been pushing for a bill like this for nearly a year. The National Diaper Bank Network says diapers can cost a family up to $80 per month per baby, leaving 1 in 3 families struggling to provide clean diapers for their children. Some nonprofits like the Dane County Diaper Bank step in to help in these instances. The group gives away 10,000 diapers just every month, which is only a fraction of what is needed.
We think it's really critical to help people save money wherever they can, even if it's pennies on the dollar when they're purchasing diapers. We think that a small change could go a long way for the families that we serve.
This bill would also remove the sales and tax from tampons, sanitary napkins, and undergarments for incontinence. It has bipartisan support in the early stages, including from local Representative Melissa Sargent. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi is adding $500,000 in county funds to help those fighting mental health and addiction issues in Dane County. The Universal Access Resource Center is expected to open next summer. It's a call center that will connect people with the help they need.
We want folks to know if you are suffering from mental illness or addiction, there is help, this community cares, and we're doing everything we can to come together to make those services available to you.
The initiative is part of the C.J. Tubbs Fund for Hope, Healing, and Recovery, an effort to better serve those battling mental illness and addiction. It is 6:19 on Christmas Eve, and coming up after the break, we are telling you about one town here in Wisconsin that gets a lot of attention this time of year. And you are waking up to a pretty dense fog advisory this morning. Not seeing much out now, but Gary is in next and will tell us when things will clear.
In the movie.
Welcome back. We are tracking some dense fog. And Gary, where is this? Is this the Capitol? That's supposed to be the
where is it?
Capitol.
Yeah, you see him making a couple lights out over there.
That's how foggy it is.
Yeah, the fog has started to thicken up here in Madison quite a bit. Let's take a look, first of all, at a dense fog advisory that's in effect across southern Wisconsin. You can see that advisory runs until 8 a.m. for Rock, Greene, Iowa, Lafayette, and Grant counties. Right now, it does not include Dane County, but we'll have to see whether or not that needs to be expanded. Visibility's dropped to 2 miles at the airport in Madison, but to the south, visibility's been hanging around a quarter to a half mile through much of southern and southwestern Wisconsin. At least temperatures are above freezing, although Platteville right now at 32 degrees, so hopefully that'll keep the roads from getting icy. Otherwise, look for the fog to start lifting by mid-morning. Temperatures climbing to about 43 by lunchtime. And this afternoon, look for a cloudy and mild Christmas Eve with a high temperature of 47. Keely?
All right, thank you so much, Gary. And if you are still in need of buying some gifts, you're going to get pretty close, but it's not necessarily too late. The National Retail Federation says 6% of us were waiting until Christmas Eve to finish our shopping. Yikes. Several stores are open today for present giving procrastinators. Kohl's has been open 24 hours a day since Friday and will stay open until 6 p.m. Stores like Apple, Barnes & Noble will also be open from 8 until 6 today. Best Buy is opening an hour earlier at 7 and then also closes at 6. All Walmart locations will also be closed by 6. But if you're really waiting until the very last minute, Target could be your savior. Target is open from 7 until 10 p.m. tonight. Earlier this month, we told you about a Wisconsin city's law against throwing snowballs in public spaces like parks and schools. Now the city of Wausau might change their point of view. For decades, snowball fights have been illegal in Wausau, but next month the city will reconsider it. The city says the law is rarely enforced, but since the 1962, a ban on throwing projectiles has been lumping snowballs in the same category as rocks and other things that can cause serious harm. The city council president says that after recent negative national attention on the ordinance, it may be time to take snowballs off the list. At this special time of year, a rural town in central Wisconsin starts getting a lot of attention. The Rudolph, Wisconsin post office gets letters from all over the world just for its special Christmas-themed postmark. It's a festive claim to fame that's all in the name. In what has become a tradition for many people, people send their letters to Rudolph just to get them resent from the town, along with some extra flair, the stamps.
The kids will remember coming to do it, and we probably get some people that stamp that had done it as children as well. Let's see, I've gotten a couple things came in today, one from Iowa, one from Illinois, one from Missouri, Fort Worth, Texas.
The Rudolph Post Office is still offering those special holiday gifts through the middle of January. Still ahead, we've got the top 3 things you need to know as you start your day. And we are sharing a few helpful tips for how to have a holly jolly holiday travel.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning and thanks for starting your day with us here on this Tuesday, December 24th. Gary is checking on a pretty mild Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for you. But first, here are the top 3 things you need to know as you start your day. The Packers are the NFC North champions. After a slow start against the Vikings last night, the Packers managed to pick it up in the second half. The Packers will face the Detroit Lions on Sunday in their final NFC North showdown. And second, no officers will be charged in a fatal shooting by police on Madison's west side back in October. Police were called to a home on Raymond Road on October 27th. 64-year-old Dean Thomas was armed and fired at officers when they got there. Police say they told Thomas to drop his weapon. He did not comply, and one officer responded by shooting him. Thomas died from his injuries. And the third story, we are monitoring a newly uncovered White House email shows the Trump administration put a hold on military aid to Ukraine just an hour and a half after the president's July phone call with the Ukrainian president. Democrats are demanding a Senate trial that includes White House documents and testimony. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell indicated he's willing to listen to arguments and have a questioning period, then decide later if witnesses are needed. Those are your top 3 things to know today. And Gary is in. Gary, we kind of have to deal with the fog before we deal with the mild temps.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've got some dense fog, especially south and west of Madison, where dense fog advisories in effect until 8 a.m. for Iowa, Lafayette, Greene, Rock, and Grant counties. Right now, we're seeing visibilities in those areas less than a mile, some areas down to about a quarter of a mile. Here in Madison, our visibility has dropped to 2 miles, so the fog is thickening up a little bit, but still not to the point where it's going to be an impediment to travel. Otherwise, temperatures right now are in the lower to middle 30s. Here in Madison, we're at 35. Those temperatures will warm up quickly, though. Look for high temperatures to be in the upper 40s later this afternoon. As we take a look at News 3 Now First Alert traffic, there's the view on East Washington Avenue at 2nd Street looking toward the Capitol. Of course, you can't see the Capitol because of the fog, but the visibility near the street level, not too bad. No problems on the Beltline or I-3990 around the Dane County area. Right now, 15-minute travel time either direction on the Beltline between University Avenue and the interstate. Coming into Madison, 24 minutes from Janesville on I-3990 to the Beltline, 17 minutes to Middleton from Sauk City on US 12, and 14 minutes from Sun Prairie to downtown on US 151 and East Washington Avenue. That's your News 3 Now First Alert traffic.
Thank you, Gary. This unusually warm weather is actually driving more people to take part in one holiday tradition. The Holiday Fantasy Lights in Olin Park has been a free Madison display since 1989. Its coordinator says this is the very first year she can remember when there was snow for a setup, but not for the actual drive-through. What is unusual is the warm weather. She says that and the lack of snow is encouraging more drivers to hit the road and come see the lights.
I love it. I'm enjoying it. You know, I sent the kids to the park today to play basketball, and we can still enjoy our Christmas lights at night.
The display's lights are on from dusk until dawn up until January 4th. But the warm up isn't good for everyone. Snowmobile trails are open for business in northeast Wisconsin, and riders are out, but the warm weather could close down the fun a little early. Since the snow is starting to melt, snowmobile clubs in the North Woods are asking that people take care of the trails, and if they end up getting too muddy, to just stay off of them. And others around the U.S. are not as lucky with the forecast. The Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport was closed for several hours yesterday after 7 inches of rain fell overnight, flooding roads and causing runways and causing hundreds of flights to be delayed. It's all part of a weather system that dumped rain from South Florida to South Carolina, where roads flooded in Charleston. And before some passengers even got the chance to be delayed at the airport, they were delayed getting there. Getting in and out of the horseshoe over at LAX in Los Angeles is tough any day, but during the busiest travel days of the year, travelers know to brace for the delays. You might be one of the 7 million people expected to go through LAX this month, where over the weekend, some drivers said it took 2 hours to go just 2 miles. Well, traveling for the holidays can be frustrating, especially with the long lines at the airport. Here are a few tips that will help keep you on the airport security's nice list. Arrive early, at least 90 minutes before your flight boards. That way you can avoid sprinting to catch it. And when it comes to packing, you'll make it through the lines faster if you adhere to the 3-1-1 rule. That's no liquids over 3.4 ounces. All liquids must fit in 1/4 size plastic bag and only 1 plastic bag per passenger. And if you're packing gifts, you may want to hold off on wrapping them. If a present ends up needing to be checked out by TSA agents, they're just going to unwrap it. Well, for 364 days a year, the North American Aerospace Defense Command tracks potential threats in the air. But today, they are working on something much more important. They are tracking Santa. NORAD's Santa Tracker is up and running this morning. Right now, it looks like he's just off the coast of Australia. Hi, Santa. NORAD has been tracking Santa since 1955, when a young kid accidentally dialed their number thinking she was calling jolly old St. Nick. Since then, NORAD has dutifully ensured Santa's safe travel around the world, providing updates along the way. You can follow Santa. We have a link on our website. And if you're tracking Santa on an app, you're going to want to be extra careful because they could be exposing your child's private information. To make the apps work, you have to give up some info, things like your location, what's in your camera roll, and what your voice sounds like could be sent to app companies. All of that information is not only going to that company, it's also being shared by third-party companies. Your child's name, age, and birthday are also up for grabs. And when you're ready to say goodbye to the app, just deleting it doesn't mean your information is deleted. You'll have to look at the instructions for requesting the information be taken from the cloud server. Well, the weekly late winter market will be in a new location after the new year. The Dane County Farmers Market will host the weekly market at the newly renovated Garver Feed Mill. The first market will be on January 4th and will continue every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. until April 4th. Well, coming up in the morning sprint, we're going to tell you about an 11-year-old girl whose phone number ended up on an escort services website. Plus, it's the last day for the Red Kettle campaign, but the Salvation Army is lagging extremely behind their goal. We'll tell you how much they need next on our show. Welcome back. We've been asking you to share your morning with us. Check out this gorgeous photo sent in by Todd. I don't think Todd told us exactly where it came from, but it is gorgeous. What does your morning look like? You can take a picture and we will post our favorites on our website. Breaking overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, you're taking a live look at the Alliant Energy Center, where in about 20 minutes, the Red Cross's 34th annual holiday blood drive is set to begin. You can sign up for times at the Alliant Energy Center between 7 and 2 in the afternoon. Everyone who donates will get a free Red Cross long sleeve t-shirt and will have the chance to enter a drawing for different prizes. Parking is free. Entering its final day, Dane County's annual Salvation Army Red Kettle campaign is coming up hundreds of thousands of dollars short. A release says it raised just $300,000 of their $600,000 goal. Today is the very last day to get those numbers up. The campaign ends at 8. Well, trending now, before he heads out on his big trek tonight, Santa and some of his elves are bringing Christmas cheer to some very special seniors. Santa paid a visit to a senior living facility in Panama City Beach, Florida. Residents in the Alzheimer's and Dementia unit were each greeted by St. Nick himself. The Adopt a Senior program is a partnership with Walmart aimed at bringing joy to those who might not get a lot of attention during the holidays. Each resident was able to open their own gift. Very cute. Well, still ahead on News 3 this morning, a foggy start to your Christmas Eve and a very mild Christmas is ahead. Gary says a near record high is possible later this week. He's bringing you the latest from the First Alert Weather Center. But first, it's Tuesday, December 24th, and we want to say happy birthday to all the kids celebrating today. Have a great birthday.
For a clear, easy to understand forecast, watch First Alert Weather.
Welcome back. We're taking a live look outside right now where we are seeing some dense fog. It's causing delays already at Chicagoland Airport, something to keep in mind as you head out the door, maybe to go see your family members. And here monitoring it all is Gary Canalti.
Well, the fog is pretty thick, especially south and west of Madison. But three things you need to know in the forecast. The dense fog will probably lift by mid-morning, so then we're just looking at a mild Christmas Eve. Tomorrow, Christmas Day, will also be mild with some drizzle possible in the afternoon. And on Thursday, will also be mild with temperatures about the same, upper 40s for all 3 days. But on Thursday, the record high temperature is 50. For today and tomorrow, it's in the mid-50s. But Thursday, that record high temperature of 50, certainly within reach. That goes back to 1936. Dense fog advisory in effect south and west of Dane County through 8 a.m. This morning. Also, dense fog advisories farther to the south into northern Illinois. Visibility in Madison has dropped to 1.5 miles now, still less than a mile to our south and west across much of southwestern and south central Wisconsin. But weather track shows upper level winds from west to east, bringing a mild Pacific air through most of the country. Big storm system in Florida, kind of moving off the coast, still some showers right along the immediate coastline, and then rain and mountain snows into parts of Arizona and Southern California. That's where the adverse weather is for Christmas Eve. The midsection of the nation, lots of clouds, very little in the way of any kind of significant precipitation. Temperatures right now range from the 20s and 30s near the U.S.-Canadian border, which is mild for this time of year, to the 40s to our south. And you can see the snow depth right now pretty much from La Crosse to Green Bay. That's the dividing line between areas to the north that'll see a white Christmas this year, areas to the south across southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, no white Christmas. There's the Edgewater Skycam downtown Madison. You can't even find the Capitol on there now. 34 degrees the current temperature. Skies are mostly cloudy. The humidity at 96%. Winds out of the south-southeast at 11 miles per hour. As we check out our forecast, look for that dense fog advisory to continue till 8 a.m. Might need to be lengthened and also expanded a little bit depending on how the fog is over the next couple of hours. Temperatures this morning climbing to around 43 by lunchtime. The fog should start to lift about mid-morning. This afternoon, just seeing mostly cloudy skies, but very mild for Christmas Eve. High temperature at 47. For tonight, mostly cloudy skies, maybe a little bit of patchy fog. Low temperature at 37. And then for tomorrow, Christmas Day, a cloudy and very mild day with a high of 48. Could see a little drizzle in the afternoon. As we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, you can see those temperatures staying very mild for Thursday, a little cooler for Friday. Saturday, we'll see some rain that could mix with snow Saturday night before ending on Sunday morning. And then those temperatures staying in the 30s for much of next week, upper 30s for New Year's Day. So a mild start to the new year. And then on Thursday, a little colder, some flurries. There might be some snow in the forecast for that Friday beyond. For Pet Walk today, there's Lenny in Madison. Lenny is... Looks like Lenny's in the Christmas tree. I see a lot of Christmas lights around there. 46 the temperature at 3 p.m. A mild Christmas Eve in southern Wisconsin.
A very mild Christmas Eve that I actually am pretty looking forward to.
It doesn't bother me at all.
All right. Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Well, we are going to have our morning sprint up next on News 3 Now this morning. Welcome back. 6:52 time for your morning sprint. The Packers are NFC North champions after a really slow start against the Vikings last night. The Packers managed to pick it up in the second half. The Packers will face the Detroit Lions on Sunday in their final NFC North showdown.
And dense fog is a problem this morning. We have dense fog advisories in effect until 8 a.m. It looks like they've just been expanded now into Dane County. Visibility is right now less than a mile to our south and west and a mile and a half in Madison. Be aware when you're out driving this morning.
Exciting news. The city of Sun Prairie is looking at plans to redevelop the area destroyed by that terrible explosion in July of 2018. They're working with consultants from the Lakota Group and have come up with several concepts, including elements of mixed-use buildings, maybe a boutique hotel or a festival street. The land is privately owned, so the city and consultants will take these ideas to the Plan Commission next month. A man is facing charges after allegedly shooting at a home causing damage in Sun Prairie. 25-year-old Jeff Starks of Madison. You'll remember that shooting happened on Wild Irish Street just after noon on Sunday. No one was hurt in the shooting. And the number of homicides in Milwaukee this year is officially surpassing last year's total. The Milwaukee Police Department says the number of homicides reported in 2019 is 98 as of yesterday, 2 of which happened just this past weekend. Last year, the final total was 93, which was down from 118 in 2017. And 2 people are recovering from their injuries this morning after a shooting in Duluth. Police say it happened at around 3 Monday afternoon. Police were not able to confirm the names of the 2 people who were hurt or if they were looking for any suspects. This shooting also put a nearby hospital on lockdown. And no officers will be charged in a fatal shooting by Madison police on the city's west side back in October. Police were called to a home on Raymond Road where they found Dean Thomas, who was armed and fired shots at them. Police say they asked him to drop his weapon, and when they didn't comply, one of the responding officers shot him. Thomas died from his injuries. And 20-year-old Madison man accused of shooting and killing a Dodgeville man earlier this month is officially facing a charge of reckless degree homicide. A criminal complaint shows Marcus Hamilton tried to rob a group who were trying to purchase marijuana from him on Madison's south side. 18-year-old Gunnar Holm was shot and later died at the hospital. A not guilty plea was entered on Hamilton's behalf. A Wisconsin mother is warning others after learning her 11-year-old daughter's personal information was on an escort website. Faith Baldus says a man called her daughter's cell phone looking for an escort. Her daughter's number was listed under an escort's name and photo on the website skipgames.eu. Other women in the Milwaukee area were also found. Police say the number seems to have been added on accident. And a newly uncovered White House email shows the Trump administration put a hold on military aid to Ukraine just an hour and a half after the president's July phone call with Ukraine's president. Democrats are demanding a Senate trial that includes White House documents and testimony. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell indicated he's willing to listen to arguments and have a questioning period, then decide later if witnesses are needed. And in an interview, President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, suggests the Trump administration is bluffing about stopping North Korea's nuclear ambitions. This comes ahead of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's threatened Christmas surprise against the U.S. and as the nation steps up their production of long-range missiles, which could potentially reach the U.S. mainland. And a local state representative wants to get rid of the sales tax on diapers and tampons. This bill would also remove the tax on sanitary napkins and undergarments for incontinence. It has bipartisan support in the early stages, including from local Representative Melissa Sargent. And Dane County Executive Joe Parisi is adding $500,000 in county funds to help those fighting mental health and addiction issues in the county. The Universal Access Resource Center is expected to open next summer. It's a call center that will connect people with the help they need. The initiative is part of an effort to better serve those battling mental illness and addiction. 6:57 right now. Let's turn it over to Stacy Kay with a look at your traffic.
Yes, thanks. Good morning. There are areas of dense fog here in southern Wisconsin, so you may need to give yourself a little extra time. But right now, no delays in either direction on the Beltline. Just some minor slowdowns on inbound John Nolan at the Rimrock and North Shore Drive intersections. Other main routes heading into Madison cruising along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Stacy Kay.
Thanks, Stacy.
And you can see temperatures right now are in the middle 30s, even though we have dense fog. So hopefully the roads will stay pretty safe for the time being. Temperatures climbing to the lower 40s by lunchtime. Look for a quiet and mild Christmas Eve afternoon with cloudy skies and a high of 47.
All right, well, hopefully the fog lifts before Santa arrives. Thanks for watching.